everyone, and welcome. It is I, your host, Captain Boring, here for an all-new rendition of the 10-Minute Sports Report. Thank you, everyone, so much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below here on YouTube. Go follow us on Instagram at 4th and 1 Podcast. All of the words spelled out, 4th and 1 Podcast. So go check us out there on Instagram. Give us a follow, and then the best thing you can do, like and subscribe, and definitely share. We are on pause with the 4th and 1 Podcast until we get more news. We're kind of slowly building and just kind of keeping track of things as we send different topics to each other in the group chat. And then once we have enough, we'll do an episode, and probably by that point it'll be time to preview a conference or a team or a group of teams, or give a top 10 or something. So we are getting into the thick of spring ball, the spring games over the next 3 Saturdays. So that'd be 6, 13, and 20. Those are your big games, including the 20th. Your defending national champions, 2023 national champions, Michigan Wolverines, will play their spring game. That's either here nor there. Why don't we just get into the thing you're here for, which is sports, being updated about them so you can get on with your life. Alrighty, and on Thursday, we'll take it back to the last time I was with you. On Thursday, the Sweet 16 kicked off, where San Diego State played number 1 Uconn, the number 1 overall seed Uconn Huskies, who have beaten in the last 2 years their NCAA tournament opponents by an average of 23 points per game, and they were right on that, except a little more. They handed San Diego State, the Aztecs, a 30-point loss in an 82-52 win, and they are rolling. Number 4 seed Alabama took down another 1 seed in the North Carolina Tar Heels, 89-87 in a thrilling game that I did not watch any of. The number 6 seed Clemson Tigers took on the number 2 seed Arizona Wildcats, and in another thrilling game took them down. So the 1 and 2 seeds, both from the West region, went down just minutes after each other, 77-72. Then the number 3 seed Illinois Fighting Illini took down the number 2 seed Iowa State Cyclones, 72-69. If we fast forward to, and I went too far. If we fast forward to Friday, the other Sweet 16 games, number 5 Gonzaga could not withstand Zach Edey, who had 27 points, as number 1 seeded Purdue beat Gonzaga 80-68. And then the last number 1 seed, the one in the South region, the Houston Cougars, my pick for the national championship, fell 54-51 to the Duke Blue Devils, the surprise team of the tournament to this point in the South region. The number 11 seed NC State, they are the NC State Huskies? Bulldogs? Hi, they're the NC State something. Wolfpack, there it is. NC State Wolfpack played number 2 seeded Marquette in the South region and won 67-58. And then finally, the last game of Friday in the Midwest region, number 3 Creighton played number 2 seed Tennessee, and the better seed got the better of it, 82-75. The Volunteers moved on to the Elite 8, which started on Saturday as the number 3 Illinois Fighting Illini in the East region took on the number 1 overall seed, the Uconn Huskies. It was a 5-point game, 23-28. The Illinois Fighting Illini hanging in there, hanging tough. They are predicted by many to be the last team that might have a shot to beat Uconn, a team that could keep pace both defensively and offensively. Well, they did not keep pace in the second half. The Uconn Huskies went on a 30-0 run. That means, for those of you who cannot put 2 and 2 together, the Uconn Huskies scored 30 straight points, and the Illinois Fighting Illini scored 0 points in that time. They blew it open, 77-52 the final. Then the number 6 seed Clemson Tigers took on the number 4 seed Alabama. And you might be saying, that's a college football playoff, Wakai. We're talking men's basketball. Well, guess what? They both have good men's basketball programs, clearly. And in this case, Alabama got the better of Clemson 89-82. Mark Sears went wild. He missed his first 4 shots of the game. He only made 4 shots in the first half, and then he made 6 straight 3-point shots in the second half to finish with 23 to elevate the Crimson Tide to the Final Four. And Uconn is also moving on to the Final Four. And then the final 2 spots were taken. Number 2, Tennessee visited number 1, Purdue. Zach Edey went off for 40 points. The player of the year dropped 40 points. Tennessee could not keep pace. 72-66. The number 1 seeded Purdue Boilermakers entered the Final Four. And then the final spot, the rivals in the ACC, the 11 seed NC State took on the number 4 seed Duke, who coming off that number 1 upset of the Houston Cougars. And in this case, it was the Cinderella story that continues. The number 11 seed NC State Wolfpack defeated the Blue Devils 76-64. DJ Burns Jr. had 29 points, and NC State rolls in to the Final Four, and they are hot. So Saturday, the 6th of April, number 11 NC State will take on number 1 seeded Purdue, and number 4 Alabama will take on number 1 seed Uconn. Both games are on TBS. Alrighty, let's get into some NBA and update you, and then NHL, and then you are on your way. Thursday night, Boston went to Atlanta and lost a shocker in overtime, 123-122. DeJounte Murray had 44 points. He took 45 shots. He said he was tired, but he got the job done. The Milwaukee Bucks, 2 seed in the East, might have been able to gain some ground on the Boston Celtics. However, they are already the 1 seed, but not this night. Zion Williamson had 28 points, and the New Orleans Pelicans get a much-needed win. Again, the East is already locked up by the Boston Celtics. They have the 1 seed. No reason Milwaukee's still positioning for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th seed in there. The Pelicans need this worse because they are in the thick of the West race, and I'll get to that in just a minute. 107-100, the final there. Let's flip ahead to Friday. Philadelphia, in desperate need of Joel Embiid, went to Cleveland and did what they do without Joel Embiid, which is lose. 117-114. Kyle Lowry had 23 points. I should mention, it is being reported today that Sixers star Joel Embiid, he is much needed. He might be a one and done in the playoffs because at this point, they are positioned for the play-in. Remember, last day of the season, middle of April, like April 15th, April 14th, 15th, I believe. That's 2 weeks from now. So we need to get rolling here if you're the Philadelphia 76ers. He is expected to play tomorrow. That's Tuesday night in Oklahoma City. The 76ers are 40-35, currently 8th in the Eastern Conference with 7 games remaining. So they want to get out of that play-in. But back to the schedule. Golden State went to Charlotte and got a 115-97 victory. The Lakers went to the Pacers in Indiana and got throttled by 19, 109-90. The Clippers went to Orlando. Again, that's a top seed in that those are top 4 seeds in both conferences there. The Clippers come out victorious 100-97. Phoenix went to a top seed in Oklahoma City and got throttled 128-103. That's 25 points. Minnesota went to the number 1 seeded Denver and got a big time dub 111-98. Dallas went to Sacramento and won 107-103. And a team to keep your eye on, a team that was hot. The Houston Rockets went to Utah and got a big 1-point win on the road, 101-100. Saturday, Boston went to New Orleans and got a 104-92 victory behind 23 points from Jason Tatum. Milwaukee went to Atlanta and got a 122-113 win behind 36 points from Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yesterday, Cleveland visited Denver, and Denver got off their losing streak of 1 game, 130-101 over Cleveland. The Lakers went to Brooklyn, 116-104 winners there. The Clippers went to Charlotte, 130-118 winners there. Philadelphia went to Toronto, 135-120 winners there. Miami went to Washington and won. Everyone wins at Washington. Oklahoma City went to the New York Knicks, 113-112. So that's a very impressive win. Dallas went to Houston. Houston needs every win it can get. Came up short this time, 125-107. Golden State went to San Antonio, 117-113. Golden State needs every win it can get. Sacramento hosted Utah, needs every win it can get. Let's just assume that every game, if you're playing meaningful in the hunt playoff basketball, you need every win you can get. Sacramento got it in this case, 127-106. If we take a look at the standings, again, 7 games remaining over the next 2 weeks, April 15th, thereabout. The Boston Celtics have officially clinched the East, as I went over. The Milwaukee Bucks still sit in second, but they're only 2.5. They're 11 back of the Celtics, whatever. They only sit 2.5 games ahead of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They sit 3 games ahead of the New York Knicks. That's the 4th seed. They sit 4 games ahead of the Orlando Magic. That's the 5th seed, 15 games back overall. They sit 5.5 games ahead of the Indiana Pacers, who are 6th. Then Miami Heat, 17 games 17 games back or 6 back a second, however you want to look at it here. Really, you should keep track of from the 3 seed all the way down to the 8th seed is separated by 5 games alone. So if one team goes on a 2-3 game winning streak and one team gets really hot over the last 7-8 games, these positions can change dramatically. The Sixers sit 18.5 back, so a game and a half back of Miami, 2 games back of the Pacers. They will currently play Miami in the play-in. Winner is 7 seed. Loser plays the winner of 9-10, which would be the Chicago Bulls and the Atlanta Hawks. Those are your 2 seeds. The Philadelphia 76ers are 4 games ahead of the Chicago Bulls for the 8th seed and a good 6 games ahead of the Atlanta Hawks, who sit 24 games back. The Raptors, Hornets, Wizards, Pistons all been eliminated from the playoffs. Let's look on over in the Western Conference. We have a new leader in the West of the 1 seed. It is currently the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have officially clinched a playoff berth, along with the Denver Nuggets. They sit a half game ahead of the Denver Nuggets. They're both 7-3 in their last 10 games. The Thunder are on a 2-game winning streak. Denver won its last time out. However, 1 game back of first, half game back of second, sit the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're 7-3, but they lost their last time out. The LA Clippers are on a 3-game winning streak. They sit 5 games back. Tied for 7 games back are the red-hot Dallas Mavericks, 7-0 in their last 7 games, 9-1 in their last 10. They are tied for the 5th seed with the New Orleans Pelicans, who are 6-4 in their last 10. Sacramento, 9 games back, so 2 games behind the 6th seed, are also tied with the Phoenix Suns currently. Both teams 6-4 in their last 10, both 9 games back. 10.5 games back, so a game and a half behind the Suns and the Kings sit the Lakers, and then 12 games back sit the Golden State Warriors, or 3 games back of the 7th seed, 5 games back of the 6th seed. Houston Rockets hanging on for dear life. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. They lost their last time out. They're hanging on 2 games back, probably come down to the wire. The Jazz, the Grizzlies, the Trailblazers, and the Spurs all been eliminated from the playoffs. Let's switch our attention over to the men who use blades and skate on ice with them, and then slap a little piece of rubber at your mouth at over 100 miles an hour. That's right. It's the National Hockey League. And the New York Islanders went to Florida on Thursday, March 28th, and they got a big-time win. Florida, one of the best teams in the East, lost on their home ice 3-2. The New York Rangers went to Colorado and in a shootout got it done. One of the best teams in the East, if not the best team in all of hockey, the New York Rangers beat Colorado 3-2 in a shootout. Vegas visited Winnipeg and got a big-time dub. Again, Vegas in the second wild card. Last time we checked in with them, 4-1. Detroit went to Carolina and got blanked 4-0. Calgary went to St. Louis and got smashed on the road 5-3. San Jose visited Minnesota and got it was competitive 3-1, I suppose. Philadelphia went to Montreal and got blasted 4-1. Washington went to Toronto and got blasted 5-1. Nashville went to Arizona and got waxed. Gave up 8 goals, 8-4. Dallas visited Vancouver and got a big-time dub on the road, 3-1. Los Angeles Kings visited Edmonton, and Edmonton took care of business. One of the best teams in the second half, going into the All-Star break and coming out of the All-Star break, 4-1. On Friday, New Jersey visited Buffalo, 5-2 in favor of Buffalo. On Saturday, Detroit went to Florida, and this time Florida was on the opposite end of things, 3-2 in a shootout victory there. Anaheim visited Edmonton, and Edmonton does what it does to bad teams, 6-1 there. Nashville went to Colorado. Colorado was down 4-2 in the second period. Well, they turned it around. They ripped off 5 straight goals. Cale Makar scored his 40th goal of the year, proving he is one of the best young players in all of hockey. 7-4 victories there. That's huge because Nashville is a wild card team. New York went to Arizona. New York just keeps on rolling, 8-5 there. Toronto visited Buffalo, 3-0 there in favor of Toronto. Hurricanes went to Montreal and blanked them, 3-0. The Islanders went to Tampa Bay after coming off that big time win, and it didn't go their way. 4-1 Tampa Bay. Chicago, the Blackhawks visited Philadelphia and just smashed Philadelphia on the road, 5-1 there. Boston went to Washington and came away with a 3-2 shootout win. Pittsburgh went to Columbus and did not come away with a 4-3 shootout loss there. Ottawa visited Winnipeg, 3-2 in favor of Ottawa. San Jose visited St. Louis, 4-0 in favor of San Jose. Dallas went to Seattle and continues to be one of the best teams in the West, 3-0 over Seattle. On Sunday, Anaheim visited Vancouver. Vancouver got the better of Anaheim, as they should, as Anaheim is one of the worst teams, or one of, not worst, but one of the lower seeded teams, most definitely, in hockey. 3-2 there. All right, down the home stretch, people. All right, finally, the standings. So the Boston Bruins now have separated themselves from the Florida Panthers off of the Panthers' rocky 4-5-1 in their last 10 games start. 101 points-wise, Boston Bruins to 99, and then the third place team in the Atlantic would be the Toronto Maple Leafs with 93 points. Both the Bruins and the Panthers have clinched playoff seeding. In the Metropolitan, the best team points-wise in all of hockey, that would be the New York Rangers. They're 8-2-0. They're on a 5-game winning streak. They lead the Carolina Hurricane, who are 8-1-1 in their last 10 games on a 2-game winning streak by 3 points, 104-100. Both of them have clinched playoff berths. Washington Capitals now have officially taken over the third seed in the Metropolitan from the Philadelphia Flyers, who are 3-5-2 on a 4-game losing streak. The Capitals, however, on a 2-game losing streak, 6-3-1, both tied at 82 points. In the West, both the Stars and the Avalanche have clinched a playoff berth. This is in the Central. Stars lead the Avs by 3 points, 103-100. Both the Stars, are on a 7-game winning streak, 8-2-0. The Avs won their last time out, 8-1-1. Meanwhile, the Winnipeg Jets are just trying to hang on at this point. 94 points, 4 points ahead of the Nashville Predators, but on a 6-game losing streak, 3-6-1. The Predators are on a 2-game losing streak, or they would have jumped into that third seed. In the Pacific, the Vancouver Canucks have clinched a playoff berth with 100 points. Edmonton Oilers are in second with 94 points. Vegas Golden Knights are back up to that third seed on a 2-game winning streak, 7-2-1, thanks to a 2-game losing streak by the Los Angeles Kings with 87 points. The San Jose Sharks, the Anaheim Ducks, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Arizona Coyotes, the Columbus Blue Jackets have all been eliminated from the playoffs. If we look at the wild cards in the East, Tampa Bay Lightning sit at 89 points, 7 healthy points ahead of the next team, which is the Philadelphia Flyers. who sit 2 points ahead of the Detroit Red Wings, who sit 3 points ahead of the New York Islanders. That's 77. I will stop there. In the West, the Nashville Predators sit a mere 3 points up on the Los Angeles Kings with 90 and 87 respectively, and then they have a healthy 5-point lead over the Kings that are over the St. Louis Blues with 82 points. Minnesota Wild have 79. Calgary Flames and the Seattle Kraken hanging on for dear life, but it is not looking good. They both have 73 points. And that'll do it for today's rendition of the 10-Minute Sports Report. Not sure how many episodes I will produce this week. This may be the only one. I may try to jump on Wednesday. I know the latter half of the week I will be going out of town for an eclipse. So until that time, until I see you next, wash your hands, you filthy animals, and know God loves you. I will pray God blesses you, and peace out.